Deadpool is back in theaters. Once Upon a Deadpool. I'm very far out. So I'm gonna retake that.
Jesus.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Travis Snail. Welcome to a GeekVerse review. I'm here reviewing Once Upon a Deadpool. I've screwed that up like a bunch of times talking about it. I said like Once Upon a Time in Deadpool, blah, blah, blah. Before I get into this, some quick housekeeping. We got tons of reviews right now. Tomorrow Spider-Verse is out, but if you want to catch a non-spoiler one, excuse me, we have that up there. We have a non-spoiler Aquaman review up there. I reviewed Netflix's Mowgli. I believe Taylor and Dylan are working on a Smash review at some point. I think maybe this weekend, if not next week. We have a Smash tournament happening this Sunday. Time, check our Twitter and Facebook, but it should be around afternoonish, maybe 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. But check Twitter and Facebook for specifics when we go live. That's going to be good. We're determining who will get a title shot when Season 3 starts, so that's lots of fun. Tomorrow Spider-Verse spoilers review drops, so we got a lot of stuff happening. We got a really good Cantina conversation talking about episode 9 and what we think a year out could happen. And Spider-Man retrospective will be finishing off next week right before the holidays. There will be a best of, and this is what I want to alert people. I know there'll be a Bumblebee review from Taylor, and there'll be a best of. iTunes, if you're a podcaster, or maybe if you're a subscriber, I'm not sure if you got the email. They're doing some maintenance from the 21st to like January 2nd or January 3rd, I'm not sure, maybe in the 7th. Random numbers I'm pulling up. If for some reason you're not seeing Bumblebee best stuff pop up on our feed on iTunes, go to SoundCloud, go to Stitcher. There are other places, but those episodes will be coming out. So if you don't see them, once again, go to Twitter and Facebook, follow us or like us there and follow, because we will be posting the reviews, and maybe they won't be posted because they've said sometimes your episodes might not be going up right away. So you can still listen to them. They'll be on YouTube. They'll be on the podcast descriptions. But just a little shout out. I'll be doing that every cast we got. And then next week will be Aquaman spoilers. So Once Upon a Time... Once Upon a Deadpool. So this movie I saw... Honestly, just because I was interested in it. I have Cinemia, so that's a good thing. You play a monthly subscription and you get to see 3 movies. Actually, I'm switching to the unlimited movies because I'd like to see more than 3. But I have a lot more options nowadays. I save a lot more money when I'm seeing movies. And lately I've been seeing some screeners, so that's helped, so I haven't had to pay for movies. So the thing is, if I was paying for this, and maybe this will get in my review, I don't know if I would have seen it. I probably would have, just to be honest, because I was curious. But the Cinemia definitely helped as far as, you know what, I already have this movie pretty much paid for. I have movie points as well. So I'm going to see this because I'm interested, because if we didn't live in a world where Disney was in the process of buying Fox, I wouldn't be as interested, because it's just like, okay, they're doing it to make some money. They're doing it for a fun gimmick. They're doing it because they want kids or families to see it. But we do live in a world where Disney is in the process of buying Fox. It's not official, but they're working on that, and reports are by 2019 they could own it all. I'm not one of these people that think that Fox is making this specifically because Disney wants a PG version or they want to see how Deadpool works. Maybe that has a little bit to do with it, but Fox is still functioning as their own company. But that could be a small reason. Another reason is people have talked about them wanting to go to China and be able to make more money, because both Deadpool 1 and 2 could not go there. It is going towards cancer, or I think, fudge cancer or fuck cancer. Some of the proceeds are going to that. And then it's also just maybe a fun little gimmick that they want to try out. I think it's a combination of all of the above. If I had to guess, honestly, it's probably just the money. This is a business. This is people want more money. Deadpool has never opened in China. China's a big market. And I'm interested to see how it does there. So we'll get into that another time. But I was interested because we are living in a world where this could happen. In 3 years from now, we could get a PG-13 Deadpool, because we've talked about some newscasts other times. I don't see Disney making a rated R Deadpool, and if they do, I don't see them making it a part of the MCU. It would be something like a Netflix, Marvel, those shows where they were adjacent to the MCU, they were more mature, but they didn't have much to do with the actual MCU timeline. There's a few references here and there, and I could see them doing that with Deadpool. Like, let's say we're going to put it on Hulu, or they've said they're going to keep Fox their own studio, so we'll keep that way, put out the radar Deadpools, because you can still make alluding to, like, he makes a Winter Soldier joke in Deadpool 2. Like, you can still talk about the MCU and him not be in it. But as all I gotta go is from a movie standpoint, track record wise, they've shown they want these characters to cross over to make more money, and Deadpool is a juggernaut. Deadpool made a lot of money. I think it's like 800 million or something. The second one, I think they both were around that. If not, 700 million is usually considered like a massive, massive success for almost any film, unless it's cost 500 million to make or something like that. So 700 million is that sweet mark of like, this is a bona fide hit. You're getting for sure a sequel. They've both done that. I'm gonna pull that up after I'm done blabbering to see what they actually made. So I was interested to see this, but I did go in with and I guess here's my best way as far as if I'm going to recommend this. I would not recommend this if you're expecting an entirely new film with a whole bunch of different content. I think this is a fun watch. I had a good time with it. My theater was actually really full and legit had a lot of kids. Younger kids too. I was a big fan of Deadpool 2. You can check out our original review. I was the biggest fan of that review. I don't think the other guys, I think they all disliked it more than the first one, or liked it not as much as the first one, but I was in the camp. Kyle, who was former, and Liam, who was former podcasters with us, we were in this camp, like, no, we really enjoyed it, and we thought it was better than the first one, and I like it better than the first one. You can go check back, but for quick things, it's just because I was not expecting the emotional aspects in the movie, and they really worked for me. So I was fine to see it again because it's one of my favorite movies of my year. It's just my year. It's in my top 10. So I was happy to see it no matter what. I've seen it only one other time, and that was the director's cut, which I will talk about in a second. Or maybe it was unrated cut, uncut cut. I don't know what they called it. But whatever it was, like I said, just the director's cut, the added cut, extended cut. So many cuts. The release the Snyder cut. So I was fine down to see it again. Didn't get to see it again this summer because it was busy. And they add some stuff. I'd say there is, and I think they've said it's out there. It's about over 20 minutes of footage. It's a mix between some of the stuff they've added is stuff off the director's cut, and then other stuff they added is new. And then you obviously got your Fred Savage stuff. I'd say the new stuff, just Deadpool stuff, is very minor. The Fred Savage stuff is fantastic. But this is what I was going to say as far as recommendation. If you love this movie and you love the character Deadpool and you are very curious, go see it. And if you're not seeing anything else, or that's the thing, if you are on a budget or you can only pick one movie to see this month, I wouldn't say go see this. Other than supporting charity, which is a good cause, I don't think it's worth it from that standpoint. I think you gotta be a hardcore fan, and maybe you have an income that allows you to see multiple movies, and if that's the case, go see it. As far as if you could wait to see it, I don't know if this is going to come to DVD or this will be the TV version. You could wait. And for me, it did work in a PG-13 realm. I've been someone that has said Deadpool can work in PG-13. We've talked about this in the past with X-Men and in Avengers if that happens. I don't think I'm one of those people that goes, oh, Deadpool has to be nudity and swearing and blah, blah, blah. To me, that was not the thing I loved most about Deadpool. Those were pros. But the thing is, if you look at lots of Deadpool comics, when he swears, it's still bleeped out, or it's still like an F and then like a dollar sign, this, that. It's never just full on, he's saying the fuck word, or the shit word, everything like that. And lots of times with nudity, it's implied, or it's off the screen, or it's a girl with big cleavage, or a guy's ass hanging out. It's never full on, Batman Damn, with Bruce Wayne's dick hanging out, or anything like that. I'm sure there's been times, but I've read a lot of Deadpool, and it's always the thing where they pushed it to the limit, but it never, and in comic books you're just insinuating, okay, this is the F word, that's the F word, but really it's still kind of censored. It's not going full out there. So for me, what I always love about Deadpool was the two things as far as, one, being able to break the fourth wall at any point, whether it was talking to the audience, whether it was making meta references, comic references, and then just his wisecracking wit. And yeah, you could add some swearing in there, but lots of things I laugh at in these movies are Ryan Reynolds' way of making up a fun, or the writer's way of making up a fun way to insult somebody, or say something clever, whether it's about, Josh Brolin playing Thanos, or something about Dopinder. Like, all the stuff I laugh. There's the occasional time where, like, Dopinder in this one, when they're doing the roll call for X-Force, and in the original movie when they pick Peter, he goes, what the fuck? Or he says something, a big swear, right? I laugh big time. That doesn't happen in this movie. He just slams something and goes, what? So that's the thing where it's like, okay, in this one moment, they used a F-bomb in a really good way. And they do that many times. So that's the thing. I would go, of course, I think I would prefer Deadpool rated R, but I don't think Deadpool PG-13 just can't flat out work. Because most of the jokes I like, and that's what I felt reinforced watching this. I'd say specifically the X-Force dying. Spoilers for this movie, I guess. Sorry, I should have thrown it out there if you haven't seen the other one. So spoilers. All the biggest gags I like in this movie aren't having to do with nudity or swearing. It's because they've put these characters in clever situations, or they're making them say clever things, or it's character emotions or character moments, like the back and forth Deadpool and Domino have. So I think this movie works. I think it will work in the future if they want to do this again. I think there are awkward parts that the only thing you can't do in Deadpool, which doesn't bug me, is violence. Violence is toned down a lot in this movie. Blood, certain shots, gunshots, everything like that. There's still blood in this movie, but it's toned way, way down. It's very much like The Dark Knight, where it's like you knew they didn't want to get on a radar and they went as close as possible as they could, but you're not going to see much blood. There's a lot of gunshots, there's a lot of stab wounds where you don't see much or they cut away. And there's a lot of violence, like when Zeitgeist gets through like the wood chop or whatever like that. There's no blood. You don't see this blood spatter or anything like that. And to me, that's the awkwardness of this cut, because I think in a PG-13 Deadpool, if you would approach it, all the problems that I have with this film, the awkwardness, some of the weird cutting, would be gone, because they approach say, hey, we're going to make PG-13. This is how far we can push it. Instead of, we've made a radar movie, how far can we edit this down? Because that's where it's tough. The swearing, not so much, because they've made, like, there's a couple fricks or, you know, like, little small world changes or little quick changes. Those ones didn't bother me as much as someone that's seen the film twice and really enjoys it. I can tell, going, okay, I remember when they said this, like I said, the Dopinder moment. But the violence is the thing that is hurt the most. But for me, and this is where it comes down to a fan. If you're a fan of him swearing blood and guts, you're not going to enjoy this at all. So don't even watch. Don't even bother watching it if it comes to Netflix. It's not for you. For me, I enjoy those things. And I do think Deadpool, if I had my choice, if Disney came to me and said, we don't care what's going to happen. Would you want Deadpool PG-13 or Deadpool rated R? I'd like to see him in rated R. And the tough thing is, though, if they say, oh, you know, okay, if he's rated R, he's on his own, but then if not, if he's PG-13, he can go with the Avengers. And there's a part of me that I wish we live in a perfect world where we get one more rated R Deadpool, and then he could go in the MCU. Because, yeah, you know what, I love seeing rated R Deadpool, but I would love to see him with Tom Holland Spider-Man. I would love to see him with Cap or Iron Man or Thor. Like, to put him in a Ragnarok movie would be nuts. And I don't think between comic books, between animated shows, and between video games, there's many examples of Deadpool working in a PG-13 realm, and this happens again. As a movie, it is Deadpool 2 with some added stuff. The added stuff is great. Not so much the new scenes. There's only small new scenes, and the director's cut scenes I had already seen. So they're good scenes. None, like, there's not any scene that was added. I'm like, oof, that was tough. The best stuff is the Fred Savage stuff, and that to me is they do a lot of new meta jokes as far as updating, as far as they make a lot of Fox buying or being bought by Disney jokes, and they make a lot of jokes obviously about the censorship of the movie having to be PG-13. The actual movie itself, other than the cutting away from violence and changing swears, there's not any moments where they have Deadpool re-edited to say like, oh, and this is where I would have said F-bomb, or kids don't pay attention to this. In the actual movie, nothing really changes. It's the stuff around the movie, him talking to Fred Savage. If you've seen Princess Bride, you're going to really appreciate there's some fun little quips and fun little nods to that movie. What else? But all that stuff is fantastic. And that's to me that gives me the faith is all the Fred Savage stuff, I laughed tremendously. And that was the stuff I laughed at the most because it was new, I hadn't seen it, and all that stuff was PG-13. Lots of it was PG-13 on the borderline or PG-13 making fun of that they had to be PG-13. But I thought that's how it would go, whether he was in an X-Men movie or in an Avengers movie, he would go, you know, look to the camera, hey, you know, we're in PG-13, I get one F-bomb. Or in the F-bomb, you give it to him. Like, I always thought in PG-13 they would do that. And that's what they did with this. They would make him address it in a comedic way. And I enjoyed every second of it as far as the Fred Savage stuff. So that's the thing that makes me excited for the future to go, you know what, I think this could work. I think we can get a PG-13 movie. And I always think it could, but still, you gotta see it happen. Video games, comic books, animation, we've seen many things work there and not work in film. And I think as long as you have these writers, as long as you have Ryan Reynolds, it could work. I think that's even more challenging too if they say, hey, you gotta be PG-13. You're coming over to Disney. We want to keep you Ryan. We want to keep the writers. We want to keep this going. But we want to change it up a bit. We can't have you being like this if you're going to be playing around in the Avengers Guardians sandbox, right? So for me, as far as recommendation and overall, I'm not going to give this score because it's some weird hybrid. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd ever watch this film again. There's some really great stuff though with him and Fred Savage. Like, they take some good shots at stuff they do with Cable, and they talk about fridging. Like, that's how meta it gets, is they like, the movie happened, Deadpool 2, and then they listen to all the criticisms, and then in the Fred Savage stuff, like, Fred Savage is spitting this stuff out. Like, why would you do this? Like, that is lazy writing. This and that. Like, they out-meta themselves, and it's fantastic. I wish there was a reel that I could watch of just the Ben Savage stuff and then the movie, because I think the movie flows a lot better, the original form, by a good amount, because it's not mixed with adding Fred Savage in, the taking out the violence, and some weird awkward editing cuts. And Fred Savage, I think, is good as like a specialty thing, and I think this is something that could run on Netflix or run on TV and be fun. But as a movie, I'm always going to go to the Deadpool 2 route, just because it has a better flair and a better pacing to it. This is some weird hybrid, but I liked it. It's like a, I don't know, like you said, it does feel like a nice little like Christmas special or something like that, or sometimes they did that back in the day where you're watching a movie and they'd have characters introduce something, or way back then when I was a kid when you had like YTV and like these young teen hosts talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps and some little intro, like it gave it a nice little special flair, but I would never see it again. So that's my recommendation. If you're into the radar, if that's your mindset, and I think it's kind of like a, I don't want to be mean and say it's a closed-minded mindset, but I think you should have enough respect of these writers and Ryan Reynolds to be able to pull off PG-13 and a good humor. But you know what? If that's your cup of tea, if you think Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool needs to just be rated R, this movie's not for you. If you want to go in and have a fun time, see some new stuff, and if you really like Deadpool 2, I would recommend going to see it. If not, catch it on Netflix, a DVD, whatever they do with this. There's a fantastic Stan Lee tribute at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but it is worth it. I teared up a little. Yeah, that was a really nice touch, so I had a good time with it. I really enjoyed it, but I also really like Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2, I think I gave like a 10. That rating might go down because Deadpool 3, because the whole Vanessa thing, and now they're saying she's kind of back to life, so I kind of don't like that. That kind of takes away some of the feeling I had and the emotion of this movie, but I was very high on it, so check it out if you meet those expectations of what I said. So if not, don't watch it, not for you. So thank you very much for tuning into this review. Yeah, all the links are in the description below. I was trying to think if there's anything I need to plug, but yeah. So if you think it's a cash grab, that's up to you, and don't see it if you have that mindset going in. And if you have that mindset going in, and you think it's going to be a whole entire new film from start to finish, there's just some nice added little scenes, nice little desserts or surprises on the side. I don't know. I think I could have had a better analogy, so that is probably a sign that I should end this podcast. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to subscribe and follow us, we got lots of good content, like I said, coming up. Head to the description down below. You got the podcast links, the video links. If you like what we do here, please like, subscribe, rate, review, comment. Let me down. You let me down, fans. No, don't let me down. Come comment, talk to me, talk to the other geeks about any reviews out there. We love conversating with you on Twitter and Facebook. But if you like what we do, subscribe and review. That really helps us. That helps us grow. That helps us meet more fans out there. We love conversating. We love spreading that geek goodness. And if you really like what we do, head over to Patreon for different amounts. At the dollar amount, you get half our content. $5, you get everything. You get episodes early. You get a whole series up there. We got the Star Wars Clone Wars retrospective. We're reviewing every episode of Clone Wars. We got 2019 previews up there. We got the Spider-Man retros, and we're gonna have some new stuff. We got After 9, and there's a retro that I don't want to. I can't necessarily say, but there's a retro, maybe one retro to rule them all. It's gonna be dropping just exclusively for Patreon for maybe about a year. So we got some good stuff coming in the next few months. So wow, that was nice. Thank you very much for tuning in. When you hear from me next, it will not be boring.